Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Growing Up with Godzilla. My name is Donny Winter, and this is my show where I have conversations with Godzilla fans about how they've grown with the character and franchise over time. Being that we're in season 3, oh my goodness, I've been having such fun conversations with many people. Some familiar faces returning, some new guests. And for this particular episode, I'm really excited because this phenomenal human being I have wanted on Growing Up with Godzilla for ever since season 1, I think. And now the stars have aligned to make it happen. And I would love to introduce all of you to the ever so talented artist, Yuzu Mochi. Hello, my friend. How are you?
Good. Hello, Donny. It's nice to see you again.
I know, it's nice to see you too. We had a video chat not too long ago, and we were nerding out about all things Godzilla and talking about your future then guest appearance, of course. And now here we are. We've made it happen.
We are.
And well, interestingly, we've known each other for quite a long while. I think we've known each other at least online for 10 years or so. Am I right?
Seems about that.
Something like that, because I know that
Mhm.
we were connected through Facebook, and then we eventually
Yep.
met at G Fest a few years ago, and it
Yep.
was really, really cool. I had so much fun, and of course that then just led to a friendship, and now we have this opportunity to kind of nerd out about our friendship as well through this episode. So I'm pretty stoked about that. I guess my first question to start all of this off, obviously we're here because of Godzilla, right? We're here because we're
Yeah.
Godzilla fans. Well, how were you first introduced to Godzilla? Share your story all the way from the beginning.
All the way from the beginning. Well, some time ago. Not to give away my age or anything, but
We're both youthful here.
so gosh, I was probably about the age of between 5, 6 years old. And it was during the time when we had those cable boxes. If you want to do the premium channels, you had to use the cable boxes to get those. Well, my parents had an illegal cable box.
Oh,
They didn't want to pay the money for it. So
fair.
they knew a friend of a friend type of thing. So anyways, I got the Disney Channel. And long ago, the Disney Channel would play a lot of classic movies. And Godzilla was on their library.
Interesting.
Yeah, they had a handful of Godzilla films on their library long ago.
Wow.
And the one I remember I watched for the first time, it was Ebirah.
Oh, Ebra
Ebirah
Horror of
Horror
the
of the Deep.
Deep.
Yep. I was just flipping through the channels one night and I wanted to go to the Disney Channel and I saw this live action scene of these, the captured native infant islanders trying to escape the Red Bamboo Army.
Mhm.
And they get into the boat, they swim as fast as they can, paddle as fast as they can. And what do you know? Ebirah shows up and eats them up. That was quite a shocking scene for me. I'm 5 years old. I'm like, whoa, this is very scary. But it was cool. I was just so drawn into it. I was like, wow, this monster looks so cool. What else is going to happen? And then Godzilla shows up. He comes out of the cave, they wake him up with the lightning and the sword and all that.
Mm-hmm. That was so
Basically, they
suspenseful
electrocute
too.
him.
I don't think people quite appreciate just how much suspense there is in that film. Even though the film had, it's very campy in a lot of ways, and that's one reason we love it, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole elaborate, we are going to mount a sword on this mountain during a thunderstorm, and somehow this character has this wire twine that we're gonna. I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah. And yeah, they pretty much wake up Godzilla with it. They kind of electrocute him a bit.
The whole theme of the movie is sleeping, because him sleeping,
Mm-hmm.
Godzilla sleeping, or Mothra sleeping.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was just a cool moment. It's one of my it's still one of my favorite moments in the Godzilla franchise.
I can imagine being because I don't think I saw Ebera Horror of the Deep till I was like 9 or 10. I can't
Mm.
imagine seeing like Ebera like those ocean scenes with like the claw coming out of the water. Like I would feel
Hmm.
like I mean, when I was like 9 or 10, that was scary to me. Like what was going through your head? Were you like, "Oh my god."
I didn't scare too easily when I was a young kid. I mean, I've always loved monsters and dinosaurs. When I was young, I loved playing with monster trucks when I was little.
I
I
love
wasn't
it.
into. I just wasn't into the whole Barbie scene. I did have some Barbies, but I didn't do nice things to them. I chopped their hair off and pulled their heads off. I didn't do very nice things with the Barbies.
I that really resonates with me because I always confuse the hell out of my parents because
Mm.
I had like a sandbox and I would insist on playing with tractors, much to their happiness, boy playing with tractors. But I would play with tractors. I would have my Godzilla toys out there, and then I literally would steal Barbie dolls from my cousins.
Hmm.
And I would actually like the Godzilla toys, Barbie dolls, and tractors were all like enjoying the space. Like I had a Barbie riding in Mothra. I had Godzilla driving a tractor. I had like it was a mess. And I don't know, like my parents were probably like, I don't know if this kid's straight, gay, well, I don't know. Well, considering how much I loved Barbies, it still baffles me how they didn't figure that out. But another story for another day, right?
Yeah, I was just always a tomboy. Always a tomboy.
I love it. I
So
love
it
it.
was only natural I would get into Godzilla.
So when you were growing up, so this is kind of like
Mm-hmm.
a question that connects with the one that I initially asked. So
Mm-hmm.
as you were growing up, like in like school spaces, like spaces with other kids, like did you like share in that love of Godzilla with other people, or were you kind of like the only person who loved it? Because like I've
Mm-hmm.
seen a lot of people have like pretty diverse experiences with that.
Mm. I was always open about my love and obsession with Godzilla. When I was a kid, so like elementary school days, I never got any issues with it from anybody. I did have a few friends that were boys that thought it was pretty cool. A girl was into Godzilla because they kind of like Godzilla too. So I didn't have any issues. I know with some of the girlfriends that I had in elementary school, they weren't into it. I know they would like get sick of me talking about Godzilla. They'd roll their eyes or be like,
Mhm.
I don't care.
Well, you know what? Their loss, right?
So yeah, I was kind of a bit of a unique individual, for a girl. Not many girls were into Godzilla.
I kind of connect with that, like from the other side of the perspective. I would always like so one of my favorite things to do when I was a kid is I loved playing house.
Hmm.
you know, and like so I would like all of my like girlfriends and I like we would be playing house, and I would insist on bringing my Godzilla toys into the space to play house, and they were like just so confused. They were like, why is this lizard, why is this dinosaur here, blah. And I'm just like, we're making dinner for Godzilla and his friends, and we're having dinner together, we're having tea time with Godzilla.
Yeah, don't you know he's a celebrity? He's an
It's like,
international superstar. Come
yeah,
on.
it's like, damn it, we're gonna have tea time, we're gonna raise our pinkies, and we're gonna enjoy it. Bring the dolls too, bring the tractors, everybody's welcome. Oh my goodness. So okay, so like this is
Mhm.
childhood we're talking about, right?
Yes.
So as
Hmm.
you grew older, we're talking like teenage years.
Oh, here
Um
we go.
how did your relationship with as a Godzilla fan, like with the franchise and the characters shift or change, or did it stay the same?
Okay, so when I got into middle school, and I was still, open about my passion about Godzilla and a kaiju and all that. Well, I should have kept my mouth shut because I got bullied so much for it.
Oh no.
I got bullied relentlessly, and it was
Wow.
humiliating. It sucked. When you get into your teen years, things change. Your perception on life changes. You mature a little bit. you really start to care what other people think about you with looks and attitude and all that superficial stuff. So
Yeah. And then people, like, I know, like, when middle school hits, people start
mhm.
categorizing, right?
Mhm.
Like,
Yep.
us versus them. Like, oh, these
Mhm.
people, they love Godzilla figures. They love this giant dinosaur. Like, they're weird. They're the other.
Mm.
And so, like, I feel like that's, very frequently I've had conversations with Godzilla fans where they've just felt othered in some
Mhm.
way, right? So it sounds
Yeah,
like
I
in middle school you started feeling that.
oh yeah, I was complete outcast.
Wow. But it didn't diminish your love of the character or
Oh,
franchise, right?
hell no. No way.
So I guess being that you were navigating that ridiculousness in middle school
Mhm.
and also high school as well, would you
Mhm.
say?
Yes.
Um
Yeah, high school I didn't talk about Godzilla at all. I kept that
oh,
hidden.
for your like your safety, for like your well-being.
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah.
I didn't want to get bullied anymore. I mean, I
Wow.
still was, but not for liking Godzilla, but among other things I got bullied for. So
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry that you had to go through that. I mean, as
well,
having been bullied myself, like I know that it's kind of it's just really exhausting and
mhm,
mentally taxing to have to go through. And that kind of sticks with you the rest of your
definitely
life. Like I
it
know
does.
like
I
in
won't lie about
some
that.
yeah, like in some ways I still harbor like kind of like that inner self-deprecating voice that like a lot of people
Mhm.
used to say.
Mhm.
And I remember there was a point in time where because I was made to feel ashamed of loving Godzilla or loving Mothra, like I still
Mhm.
have moments where like if I'm talking about it with people, like I have like that slight twinge in the back of my mind where I'm like, am I annoying people? Like am I like just droning on and on and on about this thing that nobody
Right.
cares about?
Or like I'll think to myself, long ago I would think to myself, why am I considered uncool? What's wrong with me? Why don't people like me? Why don't people gravitate toward me? I'm generally a nice person. What's wrong? What did I do
Um,
wrong? So I would
mhm.
think about that a lot.
You know what? If we were in high school, we would have been besties. And you know what? We would be
And
the cool kids.
oh hell yeah. There we go.
We'd be the cool kids, damn it.
I was from a smaller community, not a small town, but a small city, and yeah, it was hard to connect with people. It was so hard to find common ground with other kids my age.
Mhm.
So I kept to myself a lot.
Yeah, yeah,
I feel like the few friends that I did have at that time didn't really understand me a lot of the
absolutely.
time. So I did feel alone a lot, but I dealt with it. I dealt with it in my own way.
Mhm. Yeah, well, that's what you gotta do to survive, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, I know, like, and you can share a little bit about this too, but I know, like, for
Yeah.
me, like, when I felt like my most isolated, especially when I was in high school going through a lot of that stuff, like,
Mhm.
Godzilla kind of became like that conduit of escape. Like, Godzilla was
Mhm.
my escape.
Right.
Like if I was being bullied at school, like simply like going home and watching a Godzilla movie, like I was like,
Mhm.
wow, if I can watch this, then I feel a little bit better. I feel like I can navigate those different things. Like I was talking about that little twinge of shame. Like
Mhm.
those people, like they almost ruined Godzilla for me because they were being
Mhm.
terrible people, right? So yeah. Well, you know what? That was a long time ago, and we've gotten to now, right?
Exactly. You get to a point where you just don't give a shit
Absolutely.
what people think.
So you were navigating your teenage years as a Godzilla fan. When did art
Mhm.
kind of uh,
Okay.
come into the picture for you?
Well, I've been into art since I was a little kid. Godzilla didn't really get me into art. It actually was Walt Disney because I was also a big fan of Walt Disney. So I love the animation process. I love the art styles that he would create. I got inspired through Walt Disney, and then obviously I would transition into drawing Godzilla and kaiju, all the other kaiju I found out about growing up. And it was especially with that Godzilla book. I would always rented out at my elementary school library. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's the Ian Thorne books
I do
that have
remember
the
that
orange
book.
covers. Yeah, I would always rent that book out every chance I could get, and I would look at the pictures, I would study them, and I would just draw Godzilla through that. And then the movies, of course, I would watch them on TV. Like Monster Vision was a big one. I was always
Yeah.
there for Monster Vision every Saturday night to watch the Godzilla marathons. And they actually showed other Toho monster movies as well, like Gargantua's, Rodan,
Mm-hmm.
Mothra. So I got a lot of my kaiju fix with that. And like I said, Disney, they showcased a handful of Godzilla films like King Kong vs. Godzilla. Godzilla Raids, again, was a very rarity for me. And that was the only way I was able to watch it, was on the Disney Channel on their, I remember it was called Triple Feature Fridays. And they showcased 3 Godzilla films
Mm-hmm.
one
Wow.
one Friday night. So it was pretty cool. And I had a few movies my mom would buy for me.
I love that.
And
I
I would
love
get a lot
that.
of, artistic inspiration through watching those movies. I would study them. I would look at the characters and study them, and I would just kind of practice drawing.
Wow. That's very close to what also inspired me as a writer as well. Like I would kind of like just really I would let the characters inspire me and that would just kind of like
Mm-hmm.
spill onto the page, right?
Right. Like what I would do with my movies, I would put in a movie in the VHS and I would pause certain scenes to study it. And that's what I do
Mm.
with some of the Godzilla movies. If I liked a certain frame of how Godzilla looked in that scene, I'd pause it and I would study and I would like copy, I would draw the image of Godzilla that I was seeing on my VHS tape.
Yeah, they became like reference
Or
points
like a
for you.
reference. Exactly.
Wow. See, I may not be an artist, but I do know a couple of the terms. Oh my goodness. So, okay, as you can, and we'll talk more about art in a little bit because I'm really
Oh,
excited to kind of nerd out with you about like your art and stuff like that because I've loved
okay.
your art for a very long time. Now,
Well,
like,
thank you.
yeah, as you've grown,
Yep.
as you've grown, like, which films have really kind of become your favorites over the years?
Mm. Well, let's start off with my childhood here. My favorite childhood Godzilla film was Gigan because
Great
I
one.
love the monster tag team battles. Anguirus and Ghidorah, Gigan, Godzilla all together. I just thought it was cool to see them tag team and fight. It was
Mhm.
just entertaining. I did like the human character too. I love that Gengo was a comic book artist, a manga artist. So that was
Yes.
relatable for me. I thought it was cool. He was a cool character. I loved him. So I didn't just watch, Godzilla for the kaiju fight scenes. I actually was invested in some of the human characters as well. I thought some of them were very interesting.
I don't think we've gotten a lot of characters in Godzilla films who are artists.
No, no,
So that is purely, I
but
did
it was
not think of
cool.
that. That is so unique. And he was also one of my first crushes in a Godzilla film,
Oh.
but who doesn't like a broody artist with flippy hair,
hmm
right?
He's got that swept, flippy hair. I love it too.
And I think didn't he wear like didn't he wear a turtleneck too or
I liked
something?
his, I liked his clothing styles. I liked what he would wear. I
Just
mean,
the
it's very
aesthetic.
70s, and his girlfriend too. I loved her outfits that she would wear.
Yes, she had a really good outfit.
hmm The white pants with the checker pattern looking red, white, and black top.
It's got to be
She
one of
had
the
the
most
cute little hair in her ponytail with the curls. I loved it.
it's got to be one of the most iconic outfits from the entire
hmm
franchise in my opinion because people remember that.
Yeah,
They
it's
remember
it's
that.
very artistic. I mean, it goes with the theme.
Right. So, Godzilla vs. Gigan was one of your central favorite films.
hmm
What are a couple other ones that you really started falling in love with?
Mm. I I'm a big Showa fan, so the Showa movies are my all time favorites. I really love the original, especially the original Gojira. I mean, I was obviously used to watching the King of the Monsters because they didn't have the original Japanese cut yet until like
Mm.
the early 2000s when they released it. But yeah, growing up, when I got older, yeah, I gravitated more towards Gojira, because I love what it represents. You know, I got to read about the, you know, all the symbolism and allegories of Godzilla, behind Godzilla and all that.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought it was captivating that Godzilla wasn't just some typical monster on the loose film. It had meaning to it. It had a powerful, you know, true story behind it, a
Mm-hmm.
tragedy.
Yeah. You know, that journey that we go on, because I think all Godzilla fans have this journey, right? Where,
Mm-hmm.
like, when we enter being a Godzilla fan, when we enter the franchise, we're just like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, dinosaur, pew, 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 fun, right? But then we
Yes.
have that moment when we, like, sometimes it's our teenage years, sometimes it's earlier, sometimes it's later. But, like, we just have that moment where we really discover, like, the cultural and socio-political gravity of Godzilla.
Mm-hmm.
And we're
Mm-hmm.
just like mind blown, right? Like, I know when
Yes.
I first realized like the depth and like the darkness behind Godzilla, like I was kind
Mm-hmm.
of shaken to my core. I didn't really know how to
Mm-hmm.
process it because like
Mm-hmm.
my kid brain just was like, Godzilla is superhero gonna save the day, you know. But then I was like, Godzilla, nuclear specter of post World War II Japan.
Mm-hmm.
It
Mm-hmm.
was such an interesting thing to kind of
Yep.
assimilate, right? How about like the Heisei and Millennium films? Is there like one film from those that like you really kind
Okay,
of love or anything like
I
that?
do. I love Biollante.
Oh,
I love Godzilla vs. Biollante. I actually saw that movie when I was a child.
oh.
I actually got to see it. I know it played on HBO in 1991, 92, somewhere around there, but I actually saw it on VHS and my mom got it for me. I think it was that Blockbuster of all places.
That was
Because
one
they
of
had
my
a little
first,
section
yeah.
where you can buy movies, and I saw Biollante. I'm like, oh, new Godzilla movie! I have to have it, Mom. Can I have this? And yeah, I actually got introduced to the Heisei series because of Biollante, and I just thought it was cool. I was kind of mixed on Godzilla's design. I'm like, why does he look like a cat? I really like Godzilla to look more reptilian, but I'm like, why does he look like a kitty cat? I don't know if I like it. I wasn't sure if I liked it or not, but you know, it's really grown on me. The design, I do like the Heisei Godzilla design. It's not my favorite, but he has a really cool design, especially Biollante. He looks very
Oh,
fearsome. I like the
oh my
dark
goodness.
eyes, the hooded eyes,
Right.
and also there is a scene that I loved. It's towards the beginning. Miki's character, she goes to this like psychic school. I
Hmm.
can't remember what it was called, but and there's all these kids there, and they're drawing Godzilla because they're telling their assignment was to draw what they dreamed of, and all the kids dreamt of Godzilla, and they hold up the drawings, and I loved it. That's another scene I would pause and I would look at all the kids' drawings and compare. I'm like, these are cool. I like his drawing, I like her drawing.
Oh, I
I
remember
would
that
just,
scene.
I loved it. Yeah, she's like, okay, everyone, show us what you finished. Yay! And they like hold up all their art pieces. It was just
And
so
then
cool.
Godzilla's theme starts playing, and it's like you feel like
Yes.
really revved up, and you're like, "Oh no, Godzilla!"
Yeah, he's coming soon. Yes. Yeah, I love looking at all the drawings. And then there's another scene where, yeah, Miki Sagusa, she's drawing on a tab. It's like an old school, like Wacom tablet looking.
Mhm.
Yeah, it kind of looks like an old
Oh
Wacom tablet of
yeah,
the 80s. And she's drawing the rose.
I thought that was
And
so
I wanted
cool.
that. I'm like, God, where does she get that? Mom, can I get this? Where can I get this computer thing that you hook onto the TV and you can draw on this tablet and it shows on the TV screen what you're drawing? Like, I want this. This is cool. It's like state of the art technology.
It was so 80s. Like I love it.
It was, but it was cool. I just loved it. I just like the novelty of it now.
I'm so
I
glad
think
that
it was
that's one of your fave films.
it is. It's one of my. It's definitely my top Heisei film. I'm not a huge fan of the Heisei series. I do have some gripes with it.
It has its
It
imperfections. I will say that
sure,
it's
like
my
all Godzilla
favorite
films do,
because
but
I think it's
Mhm.
my favorite because of Mickey Sagusa, strictly because I wanted to be her best friend. I just I
I
needed to
did
be her
think it was
friend.
cool that I really did think it was cool that they kept her character throughout the series. I did
Mhm.
like her character. So that's one good thing about the Hasty series I do like. She was a cool recurring character.
Ooh, I need to know one of your gripes about the Heisei series, just for fun.
Um, yeah, well, the gripe I do have is that they reuse a lot of ideas from the older Showa Godzilla films. I thought that was kind of a waste. It could have been a great opportunity to showcase new ideas for the Godzilla, but Toho likes to be in the safe zone and keep things the same or reuse the same things because it's what sells. Like they keep having Mecha Godzilla and Mothra and King
Mhm.
Ghidorah, the big three,
Yeah.
because it sells. It's
Well, and
safe. Because Biollante didn't do so well at the box office at the time.
and I think that scared them into being like, "Oh
Mm-hmm.
crap, we gotta." Well, that's
Mm-hmm.
interesting because I feel like today, especially with like Disney and Marvel, there's like so many
Mm-hmm.
conversations of like, "Oh, they're just pandering to nostalgia."
Yes.
The Godzilla series did that like 30 years ago, my
Mm-hmm.
friends. Like,
Yep.
and you know what? I think that's people wanted that though. Like people
Sure.
absorbed it. Um, as much as I love the Heisei series, one of my big gripes with it is how they would kind of always retcon Miki Sagusa. Where like one movie she'd be like super against Godzilla, the next movie she'd
Mm-hmm.
be super pro Godzilla.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd be like, what do you want? Like, how do you feel? Like
Right.
it's
I
like,
I know
what do you
it's
really want?
I didn't like her in Space Godzilla. I think maybe the dub made it worse. But she was so obsessed with Godzilla. Don't kill Godzilla! Don't kill Godzilla! Why do you have to go after Godzilla?
I know. I feel like she
I
should have
just
just been like more like us like aggressive with the dudes because the dudes were just like they were I feel like a lot of the characters in that film are very exhausting.
yeah, Space Godzilla is not my favorite Heisei film. It's probably one of my worst
I
ones.
will
Um,
Yeah, like
I do
it's not
love
my
Space
favorite to
Godzilla though.
rewatch. Yeah, the
No, it's
concept
kind
of
of
Space Godzilla is cool.
Space Godzilla is cool, but the story is boring. It drags. There's a lot of scenes that drag on too long that could have been cut sooner. It's and the final battles just kind of bland. It just drags on too long.
Yeah.
They have so many shots of the animatronic Godzilla head. It just drags on too long. It's like you could have cut some of that out.
Yeah,
But they want
absolutely.
to put it to good use because it is a cool animatronic.
Yeah. And like I will give them props. Like I thought it was an interesting idea to like kind of give Miki Sagusa a love story because I feel like it did develop the
I,
character in some way, but I
yeah,
feel like they didn't go about it with the best intents.
right, yeah, yeah. It almost seemed kind of, I don't know, kind of forced with her
Yeah.
having her have a love interest, but I don't know. They just
You know what though? I tell you what, I wanted Koji Shinjo to be my boyfriend. Like I remember writing fanfics where like
mhm.
Mickey and I were fighting, and I like stole Koji Shinjo from her. It was exhausting. It was obnoxious, and I'm just like I it was such a very as much as the film is not like my favorite go to
Mhm.
now, like that relationship was like very cemented in my head when I was a
Mhm.
kid, and I was just like, oh, Mickey has a man now.
I actually kind of liked Yuki. I thought he was a badass.
You
I had a little crush on him. I thought he was cool.
Yuki was attractive. Yuki, who was the annoying third one?
Oh, the younger guy,
Who,
um, Kyo Sato.
yes. Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
he was so
he
exhausting to
was
me.
cute, but yeah, he's annoying. And the dub made it worse. What are we doing here? Tell me. Oh,
That was so accurate. Did you do the voice dub for that film?
no, no, I did not. But thank you.
Where's that Oscar? Because
Oh, please.
oh my goodness. Well,
Uh,
I love that I love that we've kind of delved into some of the characters that we've been drawn to. Are there like any other final lingering ones that like characters or kaiju that just like really grew on you over the years?
So we were talking about crushes. My first crush that I remember was Akira Takarada.
Oh,
The moment I saw him, I was probably like 8 years old, and I actually got to see Mothra vs. Godzilla, or, Godzilla versus the Thing. Since, we only had the dubs available, we didn't have like the subtitled version. So as soon as I saw him come on screen the first time, I just thought he was just the most handsome person I've ever seen. I was just smitten by him. He was just gorgeous.
I felt the exact same way. And then, like, eventually when he was in, like, Ebera Horror of the Deep, I was just like, yes, I want
Yes.
Wild Island Akira Takarada.
I want to be stranded on an island with him. Oh my goodness.
We don't need no lifeboat. Ebera be damned. Well, and I know my other character crush. Okay, here we go. 2 character crushes. This is one of my favorite conversations, by the way. Poor Matt Frank. I literally, during our episode that he was on last season, went on for like 15 minutes about this character, and Matt was just patiently being like, "Oh," but the Exilian second in command from Godzilla Final Wars. Oh my! Like,
they had some cool hair. I liked their hairstyles at the time. I thought they were punk rock and edgy. I loved it.
And I was going like I was at that phase where I was like going through like my punky gothy phase. So I was like, I want this man to be my space husband. And but I will also say another crush that I developed. I have like a Rolodex of Godzilla film crushes. Is Chujo from Godzilla Tokyo SOS. He is just so cute and dorky.
It is cute. You know who I liked in Tokyo SOS even more though?
Oh.
And I can't think of his name, the character's name, but oh shit.
Is he the other like pilot?
Yes, he's the badass brooding one that kind of he's the bully basically.
I need to find his name.
I like the bad boys. Do you notice that?
I mean I kind of do too. I need to find his name. Where is his name?
What is his character name? I just thought he was really cute. And I like his gruff attitude.
Kiyosuke Akiba.
Akiba, yeah.
You know what? So this is gonna be cringy. Mm-hmm. But I used to kind of ship them. I used to ship Akiba and Chujo because I was like, ooh, there's something there. Ooh, there's some there's some feelings there that are unresolved.
There's some tension there.
And I was just like, you know what, my little gay soul just needed representation in any possible way that I could get. So, but no, I go for the bad boys as well. So
yeah, I was a sucker for the bad boy.
Nothing wrong with that. So, okay, I have a more serious question. Like this is like usually like the question that gets a lot of people because it like just kind of forces us to dredge really deep into who we've become. So I guess, how has Godzilla shaped you into the person you are today?
I guess one word I can think of is resilience. Being resilient. As a human and as an artist, especially as an artist. Being resilient.
So he kind of taught you that resilience then.
Godzilla taught me resilience.
Wow.
Be strong regardless of the obstacles that come your way. Keep fighting.
That's powerful.
Fight for what you want. Fight for what you want. Be resilient.
Yeah. Especially like having gone through like bullying and stuff like that and having to like fight, even like fight for our art too.
Right. Because I do struggle with my art. I hate saying this, but I have imposter syndrome. I have major imposter syndrome when it comes to my art because I'm like, I'm not good enough. People ignore my art when I post it. It's like, am I bad? Am I really bad? Sometimes I would want to go on the like Reddit or other type of art board and say, rate my art. Is it bad? Is it that bad? Is it
Yeah.
not good? Is it professional? It's not professional enough. You know, because I see all these great artists on Instagram and other social media outlets, and some people are just amazing. It's like, God, I can't live up to this. I'm a phony. I'm a
Mm,
fake. I'm not good. I hate feeling that way. I still feel that way sometimes.
yeah.
It's so hard to get over. But it doesn't stop me from drawing,
That's good though, because
from
like
creating.
I think that's one of the difficult things. Like sometimes when we
Mm-hmm.
get really up in those feelings, it can almost
Mm-hmm.
cause us to self-sabotage, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not just saying this as your friend. I am saying this because like I have a very wide palette of art that I've appreciated over the years.
Mm-hmm.
I hold a very special place in my heart when it comes to your art. Did I just rhyme? Ooh, that was a bad rhyme. But it's true though. Like I like so like if we were to like go and like describe like artistic styles, how would you describe your
Mm-hmm.
artistic style?
Okay. My artistic style is very cartoony, simplistic and cartoony, but a little cutesy. Um, nothing real, nothing really detailed. I'm not really into hyper realistic type of art, even though I do appreciate the art form.
Mhm.
I'm personally not into creating it myself.
Right.
I grew up on cartoons. I love cartoons growing up. Like I said, you know, Walt Disney animation, and you know, a lot of the WB Warner Brothers cartoons like Animaniacs and Tiny Toons and Batman the
Mm.
Animated Series was a really good one that I loved. I like that type of form of art. Even like Tom and Jerry or Looney Tunes. I grew up on all that, and I love the art styles. I like that simplistic yet elastic type of stretchy um, movement in the animation and the artwork even.
Yeah. Well, the reason why I asked you to describe your artistic style is because I think there is a huge space for that artistic style in our fandom, especially. Like I feel like
Mm-hmm.
it's fun, it's lighthearted, it
Mm-hmm.
allows us to do storytelling in different ways, right? And
Mm-hmm.
people latch on to that. So I would say that you absolutely do belong, and that you have honed yourself and you've become the artist that you are now,
Mm-hmm.
having traversed all of those different things, right? I know that's never going to make all the imposter syndrome go away, because heaven forbid, I still get imposter syndrome all the time, not
Mm-hmm.
only as like a writer, but as like a YouTuber. I'm always like, do I suck?
Mm.
Like, am I really just an incompetent, jangling bag of nonsense? It's like, once I can get past that thought process, I'm like, you know what? No, I deserve to exist in the space that I inhabit,
Mm-hmm.
and so does my art, because it's an extension of who I am as a person. Thank you for attending my TED Talk. Bye, everyone. I'm kidding. But that resilience is
Mm-hmm.
important. That
Yes,
resilience is absolutely important. So, all right, let's talk about collecting. Do you like to collect anything?
I do.
What do you like
I
to
do
collect?
like to collect all sorts of different unique type of Godzilla memorabilia. It's not just the Sofubi, even though I do appreciate the Sofubi, and there's so many people out there that have hundreds of Sofubi in their collection.
I'm jealous of them because I could never afford that
I
many.
could never afford it either. I'm like, oh, God, people, where do you get the money for this? Jesus. I mean, their room is filled with Sofubi or X plus. Goodness, lots of money. I like to collect. Obviously, I like to collect different pieces of art from other Godzilla artists. You know, like Matt Frank and Bob Eagleton,
Mm,
etc. Um, you know, just to name a few. I like to. I do have a few figurines. I do have just a few Sofubi. I do have a few monster arts. I like the articulation with the monster arts, and the sculpts are pretty good as well. I've really gotten into the X Plus D for real
Yes.
figurines. I love the super deformed look, and they're
Hmm.
so highly detailed at the same time, so they look really great. I'm looking forward to getting the D for real -1 Godzilla that's coming out in the summer. He's got the
Oh,
little train in his mouth you can detach.
I want that so bad.
Oh, he's
I
so
want it
cute.
so
I bit the bullet and I pre-ordered it.
I don't blame you. I don't do a lot of collecting anymore, but I guess my latest
Mhm.
obsession would be collecting the little plushies. I just got my little Mothra one here.
Like, yeah, Mothra looks so good as a plushie. Like Godzilla does not look good as a plushie. I have not seen a good Godzilla plushie at all.
I
Maybe I'm
just
picky. I don't know. But
like
Mothra looks good as a plushie.
just make Mothra fat with tiny wings and I'm in. I'm I really want to also get the I want to get the Rodan Squishmallow because I think Rodan as a Squishmallow is so cute. Like a little beak with like little flappy wings. I'm just like that.
Yeah.
I do think
I
Rodan is very cute.
The squishmallows are cute. Um, which one? What other ones did they have? I obviously there's a Godzilla, but was there Mecha
I th-
Godzilla
I
too?
think they have Mechagodzilla and then also Ghidorah, and all of them look super cute. I just I'm like, oh, my Mothra Squishmallow is right up there, and I'm just like, I'm gonna go with my fave. That's all I can do, right?
Of course. So yeah, just kind of various items I collect. It's not just strictly figurines, toys, Sofubi. I do also have a limited edition sake drum that features Godzilla art on it. That
Oh,
came
that is
out about
impressive.
maybe 2 years ago. It's pretty somewhat recent. It was exclusive to Japan.
Wow.
I had a friend of a friend type of situation. I got it as a gift, so that was very generous of them to do that for me.
Hmm.
I
I
wasn't
love
expecting them to gift it to me. I was ready to pay, just
right.
ship it over to me. But no, he gifted it, so that was really sweet.
The Godzilla gifts are always the best ones.
Yeah.
So I guess a
Yes.
couple, like one more question about artistry and stuff like that. So for you as an artist, what is on your horizon? Do you want to talk any like about like any projects that you're working on or anything?
Yeah, I'll talk about some projects. I'm glad you asked that because I am starting to shift away from creating Godzilla and Toho based art. There was a big ordeal that happened. I think you've heard about it.
Oh, I
Toho went
did.
after, yep, Toho went after. I heard they went after 170 artists that were using their Godzilla
Hmm.
trademark as art prints and just selling them off as T-shirts and whatnot. And they didn't get a slap on the wrist. They wanted to take them to court.
Yeah.
Every single person that was hit with that summons. And I wasn't caught, and I from that moment when I saw the article, and there's some YouTube videos about the subject as well.
Yeah.
I said, what, I need to back away from Godzilla. I do not want to get on Toho's bad side. I don't want to be on their naughty list and be blacklisted.
Yeah.
Because then I would never ever have a chance to work with them at all in the future, possibly.
Right.
So I decided to shift away from Godzilla. So you're not going to see me draw much Godzilla related art.
Hmm.
Especially, I'm not going to sell anymore either. You know, I don't want to get in trouble.
Right. Totally get that.
So I'm doing my own thing, and it's probably best I do that because I want to have a I want to try to have a successful art business. So I need to create my own original products, characters, and that's what I'm trying to do right now. I'm creating a few characters. My Yuzu Mochi. She's like She's my mascot for my business, and she's a cute little mochi. And
Mhm.
she is her. If she was a flavor, she'd be yuzu, and yuzu is a Japanese citrus, and it's one of my favorite flavors of Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought Yuzu was a cute name.
I think it's a very cute name. Like a very cute name, very cute like artist, like pen name in general. I love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I love mochi. Mochi is one of my
Same.
favorite Japanese treats, snacks. It's so bouncy and chewy, and you can have it as you can also have it as a savory type of dish, but I prefer it to be more of the sweet side, more dessert side.
Mm-hmm.
It works really well with mochi on the dessert aspect. And I love cooking. I do love cooking, so I just wanted to combine my love of art and food together. So I decided, okay, what the hell? Let's design like these cute little mochi characters and make them look like some sort of creature or animal or kaiju even.
I love that idea.
I just thought it was kind of unique, and it's something that I enjoy. I enjoy cooking. I enjoy drawing. So I
You know
enjoy
what?
Japanese culture. So I mixed all those together.
Those are some of my favorite things too. Food, Japanese culture, giant monsters. Bam.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a buffet of perfection.
And my latest character, I designed my own kaiju,
Oh.
and its name is Wagashiras. I call him Wagashiras, and he's inspired by wagashi, which is a Japanese traditional confection.
Mm-hmm.
And I do like cats, so um, a kitty cat, and I love bearded dragons. So I just fused all those elements together, and I created this kaiju made out of like wagashi.
I think that is such an interesting convergence
Mm-hmm.
of things to love. Like that's so unique. And I think that that is really going to gravitate especially to a lot of artists because a lot of people don't think that you can combine the different things you love.
You know, I also do worry as well because, when you're not a very well-known artist like myself, you're not very popular, and you want to come up with original ideas. It's hard to get known for that. That's why a lot of artists gravitate towards fan art because it's
Yeah.
what's familiar and that's what people like. But when you want to create your own original character or idea, people just kind of ignore it. They're like, yeah, they're not really. Not many people are really fond of that. They're not really inspired by that.
Yeah.
Not as much. So
Well, you know what? I feel like there's
it
definitely room for it to catch on though.
yeah. I mean, consistent. Like I said, resilience again and You just gotta be consistent.
Well,
That's
that
another thing I need to
actually
learn. Be more consistent with my work.
same. Same. That's actually that kind of conveniently transitions into my last question for you. So,
Mm.
do you have any advice for Godzilla fans or artists who may be new to the franchise?
Gosh, do I want to sound like a cliche?
Absolutely. Go
Corny
for it.
cliche. Let's just say I'm gonna separate them. So if you're a newcomer to the um, Godzilla fandom, watch whatever Godzilla movie. Really, just watch whatever perks your interest. But I guess if I were to make a suggestion for them, I would definitely say watch the original Gojira.
Absolutely.
Definitely watch the
Good place to
original.
start.
I'd say that's a must. And then
Mm-hmm.
from there on in, pick whatever Godzilla movie you want to watch. There's so many out there. I mean, gosh, how many Godzilla movies are there? Like 30.
Isn't there
And
like
I'm
37
including,
now?
I was thinking like 38. I'm including the American versions too, because why not?
Well, we gotta now. We have to. We have to.
Okay, yep, yeah, Zilla, I'm giving you a break. Go ahead. You can be included too. Fine. All right, you G98 fans out there.
How about for artists? What is your advice for artists, aspiring
Don't
artists?
you know what? don't be afraid of using references, because I know when I was growing up, I would never use references. I would refuse to use references. I had that mindset, like, I can do this from memory. No, don't have that attitude. It's good to have a reference. There's
Absolutely.
nothing wrong with copying another person's work. But there is a fine line between plagiarizing, but it's how you learn. It's how you learn as an artist.
Mm-hmm.
You need to use references, whether it's like in a book or outdoors, or on an artist, or from an artist that you admire, or television, cartoons and whatnot. Nothing wrong with using a reference in the copy. And but I would say, maybe stay away from tracing. I never would trace any of my work, or anybody else's work, I should say. I'd never trace anything.
Mm-hmm.
But
Yeah.
keep practicing. Just, yeah, you may not. I mean, nobody's born talented, right? You learn. You learn and you grow from the experience, and you just keep being consistent, and just keep practicing.
Yeah.
And like I said, there's nothing wrong with using a reference. That's how we know how to draw forms and shapes, and getting the correct postures and whatnot.
Absolutely. And like, I think that's excellent advice. And I get really caught up in talking about imposter syndrome, and just circling back on that for one moment. Like, for those of you who are artists or writers or musicians out there, like, if you have like trauma from people like being naysayers, or like you feel like you don't belong, just know that there is a space for you to put your stuff out there. All right. And own that space. I think you deserve to own that space. So,
Because there's people that aren't as, there's people that are more talented than me, and then there's also people that are less talented than me, and they're doing better than I am on social media. They're getting the followers. I am not. I'm not good with marketing. Maybe it's a marketing thing. I don't know. But
social
like you
media
said,
is a monster of its own.
Right. I mean, there's a market for everyone. I mean, God, there's somebody that draws like stick figures, and they're successful at it.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it comes with, storytelling as well. Like, look at the Matt Groening from The Simpsons. He wasn't a very good artist. His art was kind of sloppy and sketchy, but his storytelling skills is what made up for that. And it just worked together.
Well, I personally think you got all that. And I think it's going to come into, I think something's going to spark one day, and you're going to wake up and you're going to be like, holy crap, like following, holy crap. Because it happens. It definitely happens. Well,
Right.
so speaking of that, where can people find your stuff?
You can find me at Minimochi Inc. Minimochi.inc, I should say, on Instagram, and you can also follow me on my new YouTube channel under the same name, Minimochi.inc, because I'm starting to create videos now.
Woohoo! And those links are in the description section below, so please definitely check those out. Any parting words for our friends today?
Well, my fellow kaiju fanatics, fight the good fight, be resilient, and keep your chin up, because there is always light at the end of the tunnel.
Absolutely. My friends, thank you for watching as always. Thank you, Yuzu Mochi, for joining me. I'm really excited that we got to nerd out together today.
And thank you for having me. I was so happy to be here. Maybe a little nervous, but I had a good time.
You know what? You rocked it, though. You rocked it. So don't forget to subscribe to our respective channels, follow our stuff, click like for the algorithm. We need that. Trust me. And Growing Up with Godzilla premieres on the first and third Sunday, relatively, of every month. Don't forget, keep standing tall, my friends, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.